The next talk will be given by Professor V.N. Muralidhar from IITB. He has done his PhD from IIT Delhi in Computer Science and Engineering. His research interest is in the field of algorithms, its complexity and its applications. Sir, we invite you to take.
Main objective of this talk is to show some connection between pure mathematics and IT, in particular to computer science. I'll specifically talk about a problem in coding theory. The main results in this for this problem uses a lot of advanced mathematics, namely algebra, finite fields, theory of number theory, and the recent results uses some of the techniques that are used in algebraic geometry. So I won't go into a lot of mathematics. I'll try to define the problem clearly, list all the known results, and leave you with some open problems. Let me begin with the definition of the problem. So here there are two parties, party A and B. Okay, so party A wants to send a message, m-bit message to the party B, but this channel makes errors, right? This is a noisy channel, so it makes errors, so he can't receive everything that is sent on this channel. So the objective is to, instead of sending m bits, okay, so I send m is the message, the number of bits there is k. Instead of sending k bits, I want to send n bits, n is greater than k, so that he receives this n bits, right? And but some of the bits are corrupted, right, flipped. So so that is the process of called what is encoding. So there is a function which takes a k bit and gives me n bit. Instead of sending k bits, I'll send n bits, n larger than k. When he receives it, here there will be some bits which are corrupted. The objective is to get back this. I wanted to actually send this k bit number, which is m, right? So there are two functions that is required. One is given a k bit message, right? There is a m is a message, and which is I should be able to compute e of m efficiently. And after receiving, let's say that I'll receive y, I won't receive e of m. I'll receive a bit n bit vector, which is y, the number of bits there is n. So but this is not exactly this, but there are some bits which are flipped, right? So in other words, I'm allowed to make mistakes when I send the message, right? But at the receiving end, after I receive y, if the number of errors, which I write it as d, if the number of errors between e and m is smaller than some fixed value e, then I should be able to get back my message m, right? There should be a decryption function which takes my y and gives back m, right? So but the specific example that I am looking at will be able to correct errors. Remember that instead of sending k bits, I am sending n bits. So essentially I am sending n minus k extra bits. But if you can make off of these errors, right, n minus k by 2 errors during this process, so I will be able to recover my m, right? So you can't make all the errors, but half of them, right? So the whole area of the algorithmic interest is to come up with this encoding function and the decoding function, which is easy to compute, but which can correct as many errors as possible, right? So for example, e is equal to n minus k by 2, we do have efficient algorithms, right? Let me quickly go into the specific example of Reed-Solomon codes. This looks a little scary, but don't worry about it. So I start with a finite field fq. Without loss of generality, I'll assume that the message that I want to send is an element in my field, right? It's a sequence of zeros, or if it's anything, even if it's an English sequence, English letters, I can always go map it to an element in the field. There are bijections which takes you from anything to the set of the elements of a finite field. I start with x1, x2, xn. These are distinct points in fq, finite field, which is predefined, and it is chosen separately. All of them are distinct. Let's say that you want to send a k-bit number, which is a k-bit sequence, which is a0, a1, ak minus 1. right? When you want to send a0, a1, ak minus 1, I look at the polynomial p of x, which is essentially a0 plus a1x, a of I x to the power I is going from 0 to k minus 1. So this is degree at most k minus 1, right? So I construct this polynomial and evaluate this polynomial at the points that I have chosen, which is x1, x2, xn, right? I am evaluating a k minus 1 degree polynomial at n points. I obviously get n points, and that is what is my encoding function. So I have a0, a1, an. I construct the polynomial p of x, which is a0, a of 1 of x plus ak x to the power k minus 1, and what I send is essentially x1 comma p of x2, evaluation of these points at these points, right? There are n points which I chosen, so I'll get n points. So when you so that's what I send it to party B. Okay. So now when you make errors during this transmission, right, I should be able to get back the polynomial, which is the p of x. I call it as p of x. If I get back my polynomial p of x, then I can get back my a0, a1, a, right? Sorry, ak minus 1. In this case, so I can correct n minus k by 2 errors. Okay, it's easy to see that I won't give the proof here. There will be at most one code word which will satisfy if we can make only n minus k by 2 errors, right? So y is what is received, right? And e of m is what you wanted to send, so you want to recover. So the number of code words such that this satisfies n minus k by 2 is there will be only one message gam, okay, which will satisfy this condition, right? So here d is Hamming distance, which is the number of errors that you have made, right? There will be only one, and there is also a simple algorithm which will compute the time, so which is due to these two people, which is dated back to 1969, right? So in other words, let me write it like this. This is my 0, this is the number of k is the number of bits that I wanted to send, and so here instead of sending k, I decided to send n. But if I make n minus k by 2 errors, right, that's this much errors if I make, then I can get back my original, right? The next immediate question that I want to ask is, what if I do more errors, right? So if the number of errors is n minus k by 2, there is a unique code word and there is an efficient algorithm to compute it. Suppose, can I go beyond that? Can I make more than n minus k by 2 number of errors but still recover my message, right? But the answer is, so you won't get a unique answer, right? So if you make more than n minus k by 2 number of errors, then there may be more than one message which will correspond to that, right? So in that case, the question is, is there an efficient way of enumerating all of them, right? In this case, it's not one message, it's a list of messages, right? So in other words, let me say m is I want to look at so y is what I receive, right? So I want to look at all the messages which will so e of m is the encoding of m, right? This is less than a particular number, let's say L, right? L is a given parameter, right? So it's the number of errors that I do, right? Give me set of all messages which are within the distance, right? So if my L is greater than n minus smaller than n minus k by 2, then this list is cardinality of this set is 1. But if that is tight, n minus k by 2 is tight. But if you go beyond k minus 2, then there may be more than one. In that case, I call it as this is the set. The parameters of m, L, and L is the number of errors that I am allowed to make, and it depends on q also, right? So this is essentially a list. The question here is that if I make more than n by 2 errors, is there an efficient way of computing this list, right? In the case of Reed-Solomon codes, this problem can be looked at as a polynomial reconstruction problem, right? This is easy to see. So my encoding function was just evaluation at x1, x2, xn, and what I receive at the end is y1, y2, yn, right? So the x1, x2, xn has to be distinct, but what I receive need not be distinct, right? xis has to be distinct, but ys. So but I want to, so the list here is essentially set of polynomials of degree at most k minus 1, right, such that it agrees at least t points, right? So I am given x1, x2, xn and y1, y2, yn. I want to find polynomials such that this is equal to yi for at least t points. In other words, the n minus t of the points that I received, I can make so many errors, right? The polynomial has to agree at t points. That means that I can make n minus 2 errors, right? If a value is t minus, for the example that I took, if n minus t is the number of errors that I make, right? If this is n minus k by 2, right? This happens to be t is equal to n plus k by 2, then any value t greater than n plus k by 2, then the answer is 1, right? There can be at most one polynomial. So I'll just write it as n plus k, right? So for a value of t which is greater than, if I make less than n minus k by 2 number of errors, which means that I have sent n plus k by 2 number of bits correctly, right? If I send so many bits correctly, then there is uniquely one code word and there is an efficient algorithm for doing it. Now the question is what happens. So let me write k is here, this is my real line, k is here, n is here, n plus k by 2 is here. If the number of agreements is greater than this, that means I have made fewer errors, then the answer problem is solved. So I want to move towards k, right, and see what happens, right? So fundamentally we have two problems. So one is what I call it as combinatorial problem, and another one is algorithmic problem, right? So what is the minimum value of k? So because I am trying to move to the left, what is the minimum value of k for which only polynomial number of code words agree with at least t for a given t, right? So what might happen is that for a particular t, the number of polynomials which the set that I am talking about could be exponential in size, right? So for example, if you look at so it could be 2 to the power n by 2 or something like that. So in that case I can't ask for an algorithm to enumerate all of them, right? The second question is algorithmic. So what is the minimum value of t for which there is an efficient algorithm to enumerate all the code words within the agreement of t in polynomial time. So efficiency means that I need a polynomial time algorithm to enumerate all of them. So it's easy to see that the value of t for the first problem will be smaller than the value for t, because if there are if the set is exponential, then I cannot have an efficient algorithm to enumerate all of them, right? So let's look at what are the results known. Okay, I am trying to go beyond n plus k by 2, right? First I will list the results for the first problem, then I will come to the second one, right? So this is again back to 1960. This is called well-known Johnson's bond for Reed-Solomon codes. So what it says is that if you want agreement of square root of nk, right? So that means that you can make n minus square root nk number of errors. So square root of nk is smaller than n plus k by 2. In that case, the size of the list is order n square, right? So this is the answer to the first question, and so that's the only thing that we know. So it's not known whether this bound is tight. In other words, if I try to go beyond square root of nk, so will there be set of values for n and k so that the size of this set is exponential, right? That's not known. So in other words, it's not known whether Johnson's bond is tight. Okay. Nevertheless, there is a negative result which is very recent, 2006, which says that there is a particular so this Jayakumar, Radhakrishnan and others have come up with a set of values for n and k. So n and k is n to the power square root of d, such that if we can, right, so they have come up with a value of t which happens to be n to the power square root of d, which is much better than my square root of nk, right. So my this is my n, somewhere n plus n by 2 is somewhere here, this is square root of nk. So they have come up with another number here, okay. So what they can show that there is a value of n and k so that you can't go beyond this. So in other words, for this particular value of t, the size of this set is exponential, right. So that means there is a radius beyond which the answer to the first question itself is not possible. In other words, the size of the set is exponential, so you cannot have an algorithm beyond this, okay. But this still leaves a lot of gap between Johnson's bond and okay, there is still a lot of gap between delta is any their particular example k is n to the power square 2. This is for any value of between 0 and 1. So the t here is n to the power square root of d, k here is n to the power d, my square root of nk will be n to the power square root of 1 plus d, delta is a number between, right. So if in the real line it's n, it's k, square root of nk is somewhere here, and this t is somewhere here, right. So you can't go beyond this computer. So if you try to go beyond this, the size of set is exponential. That's what the result is, right. For the first question, these are the only two things known, okay. So I'll remind you that there is still a lot of gap left between this result and the Johnson's bond, okay. Let's look at the algorithmic results. So the first this Reed-Solomon course goes back to 1960. So in order to answer this question, I took nearly 40 years, right. So in 1999, Madhusudan and his student Guruswamy at MIT came up with an algorithm which will meet Johnson's bond, right. Johnson's bond said that if the t value is square root of nk, then there will be at most order n square number of lists codes which will satisfy this, right. The size of the list is order n square, and Guruswamy Madhusudan have come up with an algorithm to list all of them, right. So this solves the problem. The combinatorially this thing is square root of nk, right. And we don't know whether we can do better than this, right. Algorithmically this meets the combinatorial bond, right. So this is a polynomial time which will list all the code within a distance of square root of nk, okay. So we don't know whether we can do better than square root of nk because answer to the first question itself is not known, okay. So the square root of nk is solved both algorithmically and this thing, okay. But there are some negative results for a algorithmic part. So one is this after this is in 2004, so I don't know how to pronounce their names. So they came up with a reduction to what is known as discrete logarithm problem, okay. So what they say is that so there is a radius which is, this is k, this is my square root of nk, this is my n plus k by 2, and this is my n. So there is a radius g, that g will depend on the field that I am working with and the values of n and k, okay. If we can list the code beyond this, then I can solve it, then they can solve a discrete logarithm problem in an extended field which is fq, okay. So this reduction is a randomized reduction in the sense that if you can solve discrete logarithm problem for these values of t, then there will be a randomized algorithm to solve a discrete logarithm problem in a field.
So is this an existence result or have they actually shown?
They have shown the reduction.
Okay, so the some values of g are known.
Yeah, some values of g are known. It's okay. And it's also known that this g is between k and square root of nk. Okay, whether it is close to k or whether it is close to square root of nk, that actually depends on the field and the values of n and k. Right. So beyond this, if we can solve this problem, then the discrete logarithm problem is solved, which is unlikely to happen.
And they have shown that such a g exists for any field.
Any field, yeah, any finite field. So then there is another question which is related to this. So what it says is, the given a value of t, just tell me whether this is the decision version of the problem. Just tell me whether this list is empty or not. Right. So we are worried about whether this list is exponential or very big. But if I get closer to k, so what might happen is that there may not be any code word which will correspond. Okay. So here the decision version of the problem is that just tell me whether this list is empty. Right. This is what is called as maximum likelihood decoding problem in the context of Reed-Solomon codes. And again, Guruswamy and his colleague in 2005 has proved that this can be complete for a value of k plus 1. Right. So you can't really get closer to k plus 1. If the value of t is somewhere here, right. So we started with n plus k by 2, then we moved to square root of nk, then we suddenly have a g which is beyond which you will end up solving discrete logarithm problem. But if you get closer to k, then it's NP complete. Right, you want to say whether this list is empty or not, right? So you see clearly all problems related to computer science in this one problem. So if you take values of t which is greater than n plus k by 2, then there is a simple algorithm. But if you want to move from n plus k by 2 to square root of nk, it took 40 years of efforts, but still there is a polynomial time algorithm. And the other way around, if you want to move from k towards this number, then if you want to solve the problem for k plus 1, it's NP hard. Let's not try it. But if you want to break g, then you will end up solving the discrete logarithm problem, right, which is also unlikely that there will be a fast algorithm to do that. But still, okay, so this part is hard, this part is easy, but not everything is closed. So there is this gap, right. So what happens between square root of nk and this g, right? So is there an efficient algorithm which will solve this problem? So okay, I will leave you with this question. The first question is that, is the Johnson's bond tight? This is mostly a counting problem. So can I still go beyond square root of nk, because the latest result of Jaikumar, Radhakrishnan and others have a gap between square root of nk and the t that they find. That's the first question. So irrespective of what is the answer to the first question, so the first question is really a worst case, right? This is for every value of x and every value of y, right? So what there are also results that for a fixed value of x and a random y, okay, the expected size of the list is not too big, okay, it's in fact constant, okay. So for a given value of x, there are very few y's which are bad. For most of the y's, the list size is constant, right? It's bounded by some number which is 8 or 10, right? So now the question is, can we have a randomized algorithm which works fast for going beyond square root of nk, right? So there are two cases. One is that for so I fix a value of x, I give a y for u, right? So what might happen is that for this particular input, the list could be very high. In that case, my algorithm should say that sorry, I can't do it. But what happens is for that, for most of the with very high probability that's not the case, the list is very small. But can I distinguish between this particular this case and this case? If this is the case, can I give the solution, right? So I call it as a randomized output sensitive algorithm. It has to do two things. One is that if the list is too high, it has to declare that the list is too high, so I can't solve the problem. Otherwise, give me an efficient algorithm which will give me the list for this, right? So for some time I thought that it should be possible. I spent a couple of months during my PhD, but there is no good news from my side. So I want some of you to think about this. Okay, I'll stop here.
For any field,
Yeah, this is fine. But if you want to show negative results, if you want to show that Johnson's bond is not tight, then you have to come up with one particular field, one particular value of n and k, and show that the number of code words there is exponential. So that part, if you can show one example, that's good enough. So that's what essentially Jai Kumar and others have done for a particular case, but that's not close enough to Johnson's.
Is there any relation? Manindra Agarwal recently has been working on this polynomial hierarchy, where I'm not familiar with it, but
I'm also not familiar with it.
he has.
So these 3-4 results that I showed are after 2000, right? So one is 2000, 2004, 2006.
Yeah, even these three, Manindra Agarwal's recent work has been, I just forget, I can't place this, on something about polynomials and decidability or computing them in efficiently, somebody else will know this. Since these are polynomials, there may be some connection with it.
So real life application is that so if you receive an image from satellite, okay, and the other side they have encoded as a digital number, and you have received an image that made more errors than what you expected, right? So if you have made small errors, then you can get back the original image. Otherwise, in this case, can be hidden. This sub images here. So one of them, so it's give 3 options. So one of them is correct, right? That's what the list is. Right? If the list is small, then I can have other techniques to figure out which of the one to. Right? So if you can. So, but in real life applications, there is not really much difference between square root of nk and n plus k by 2, because in real life most of the values of k is 232 and n is 256. Right? In that case, you have an advantage of just 2-3 bits. Okay. So we want to really go beyond square root of nk. Otherwise, this is nothing to do with security. The security is discrete logarithm problem.